Hey YouTube and Caymanas Park Turf Fights. Welcome back to Down Stretch. I'm the host, Christopher Charlton. We have a very competitive looking 9-race program for Saturday, the 29th of March, 2025. Let's get right into it. The first race, 3 years and up, claiming 1.5 million to 1.2 million. 11 starters, they go 7 furlong. This race is named for Isaac Peterson and Edwin Marlin. I've boiled this race down to 4. They are the 3, Burn Notice, the 5, Gilbert, the 8, Sunny T and Chippy, and the 11, Kaylin Melody. Okay, Burn Notice. Radish Roman for Adrian Prince. Third and last at 8 furlongs by 6 3/4 lengths to Outer Class Blue Vinyl. Before that, in the Ahufa Sprint was third by 4 3/4 lengths to Bootylicious. So stepping down to the claiming ranks here, 1.5 million, even with 126 pound in his back. Burn Notice looks like the horse they're going to all have to beat. The 5, a long shot I like in the race, Gilbert, Ian Spence for O'Neill Markland. Last time out, 7 by 13 lengths at this level, at 5 furlongs straight to Milos. But if you check back to the 12th of October, in a $1 million claimer, at 7 furlongs, was a very convincing winner by 7 1/4 lengths over March and Shoot and Big Daddy after breaking slow. A reproduction of that run in this race at a long price might see Gilbert running a big race. The 8, Sunny T and Chippy, Dick Cardenas for Adrian Prince. Third by 13 lengths and last to the very outer class Mojito in 131 and 2 for 7.5 furlongs. Before that was third by 4.5 lengths to Mamma Mia. So also taking a step back down to this claiming ranks. Last time at this level at 7 furlongs was an easy 6 1/4 length winner over Life is Life, who's present today. Sunny T and Chippy also in here with a grand chance. And the 11, Kaylin Melody. Shane Richardson claiming 2 kilos for Robert Pearson. 7 by 11 lengths and last to Immeasurable Joy in a non-winner of 3 contests. Titan Tempo was second in that race. Taking a step down the claiming ladder now, 1.5 million. Coming here looks like she's coming up in class, but in my assessment, I think she's only 4 years old. She is a useful horse, and her last 3 starts, she was kind of too early for her own good, and they have now taken off the figure 8. And I think if this Kaylin Melody is held up for a late run, I think she's going to run a very, very big race at a big price. The second race, Native Bred 4-year-olds and up maiden, 7 starters, they go 6.5 furlongs. This is named for Warren Fleming and L. Constantine. Boil this race down to 3. They are the 2, Ruby's Light, the 5, Sweetburn, and the 6, Solace. Okay, Ruby's Light. 4th by 6 1/4 lengths and last to Bomb Night over the 5 furlongs straight. Before that was 5th by 13 lengths to Monster Vigorous over 7 furlongs. Solace was second that day. Ruby's Light, though, I think in this race that is void of speed might be the horse setting off in front and should run a very good race now that the tongue tie has been refitted. The 5, Sweetburn, in my opinion, the horse I think they have to beat. Freshened up for this race. Last one was the 21st of December when finishing third by 3.5 lengths to Mila K. Solace was 3 1/4 lengths in front of her that day. But with this freshening and Radish Roman back in the saddle for Oral Hayden, I think Sweetburn is the horse they're going to have to beat. And the 6, Solace. Richard Henry claiming 3 kilos for Barrington Bernard. Second and last at 7 furlongs to Monster Vigorous. Before that was 4th by 5 1/4 lengths to Pappy Dan at the same 7 furlongs distance. So improved his run on the last start. Not seen at exercise, but just ran recently, so should be sound enough to fight this out. The third race, the Gregory Park Sprint Trophy. 3-year-olds and up, open allowance. 5 starters, they go 5 furlongs round. Let's just run through the field. Okay, number 1, Wall Street Trader. Tyrese Anderson claiming 4 kilos for Rowan Matty Jr. Impressive winner on last at 6.5 furlongs, beating Shade Light and Unspun in Overnight Company. Steps back up to Open Company, but he's no stranger to this level as he was second to Desert of Malibu back in November, having It's That a Fat behind. So even though not really seeing at exercise since his last run, only hacking, expected to be very fit coming into this quick dash. Very dangerous horse in this event. The 2, Pack Plays. Shane Richardson will be claiming 2 kilos off of that 126 pounds for Ron Matthew Jr. Disappointing fourth by 16 lengths on last, but he was stretched out to 7.5 furlong and didn't really display his usual big, fast, early pace and was left wanting. But before that, at 6.5 furlongs, was a dominant winner, going 6.5, beating Wall Street Trader in the Eileen Cliggott. That was in grade 1. And even though he has some more weight in his back and his expected early turn of foot, Pack Play is going to be the horse they're going all have to catch, working very well coming into this race. The 3, Digital One, Radish Roman for Gary Sobrati, impressive winner on last in the feature event on the 8th of March, when winning by 4.5 lengths, beating California Crown, giving California Crown weight in that race. But California Crown had to do the dirty work hunting up Bootylicious in the early stages. Interestingly though, even though winning impressively, Digital One came back on the jockey had to dismount, and he was obviously very lame. He was limping on his right foreleg, and that was the 8th of March. He came back to exercise 6 days later. He was cantering. No gallop since that race. He was only been cantering. So that's a kind of iffy thing for me here to see a horse limping and then 6 days later he's cantering and he's now back in this very fast-paced, short-distance race. And even though he's a horse I tipped on last and I really like this horse, he's a big question sign for me. The 4, California Crown, put the pressures on Bootylicious and last when only carrying 103 pounds. Paid the price in the stretch, and Digital One came a knocking and ran by. Up in the handicaps now, 17 pounds up. Quick Dash is going to have to try to confront Pack Plays early, but he's a useful colt and he's on the improve, and I'm expecting him to keep Pack Plays honest every step of the way. And the 5, Benson, Richie One shakes in the saddle for Fitznaw Williams, 4th by 4 lengths and last to Bootylicious over the straight. Only knows how to one way to the front, and for the first 2 furlongs, I think Benson is going to make sure that they run honest for the first 2, although I don't really see him fighting it out. So my top 2 selections in this race, I'm going to work with the stable of Ron Matty Jr., Wall Street Trader, to catch Pack Plays. The 4th race, native bred 5-year-olds and up, numbers of 3, and imported 5-year-olds and up, numbers of 2. A field of 12. You go 7 furlongs. This is named for Dave Dixon and Tashawn Collins. Ball in this race down to 4. There are the 3, Sweet Victory, the 6, Superior, the 7, Cosmic Force, and the 8, Captain Phillip. Sweet Victory, lackluster performance in the last 5 starts. I'm willing to forgive that. Has been freshened up since the 25th of January. Last good race was back in October, went second by 5.5 lengths to Uncaptured Empress. Before that was 4th by 6 lengths to Mr. Senator and Uncaptured Empress. Has been freshened since the 25th of January. Busy at the exercise track. Tevin Foster has reclaimed the ride. She have gotten that little rest, so I think she needed it. And if the pace goes too fast, I think Sweet Victory will be one of those finishing the best in the stretch. The 6, Superior, Robert Halladine for Jason DeCosta. 3rd by 17 lengths on last to Propellant. Was maybe a little too early for his own good there. Before that was 2nd by 9.5 lengths to Tiger Me. That also a little too early for his own good. If settled down and not forced to go too fast, too early, Superior should have a good shot of fighting this out. The 7, the horse they have to beat, Cosmic Force, Radish Roban for Stephen Todd, was 2nd by 1.5 to Empress Lynx. Before that was 3rd by 2.25 lengths to Dimitri P, where Superior was 2nd in front of her, but he did break slowly in that event and was coming from off the pace. From a clean break here and able to sit a lot closer to the pace, Cosmic Force looks like the animal they're going to have to beat. The horse I like in the race though is Captain Phillip, Ryan Lewis for Barrington Dawes. 2nd and last by 5 3/4 lengths to Golden Syrup after coming out extremely slowly at the start. Turned for left a half mile 12 by 15 lengths, turned for home 11 by 11 lengths and only lost by 5 3/4. Before that was 2nd by 12 lengths to Propellant, having Superior behind, also coming out of the gate slow. So from a clean break here, working extremely well, I'm going to give Captain Phillip a shot to fight this out. The 5th race, 4 years and up, optional claiming 350 to 250,000, and native bred 6-year-olds and up, numbers of 4, big field of 14. They go 6.5 furlongs. This is named for Keith Johnson and Michael Reed. I'm boiling this down to 4. They are the 5 Conundrum, the 10 Last Dance, the 11 Tequila Flight, and the 13 Traditional Boy. Okay, the 5 Conundrum. Unlucky loser and last back in January when giving it away at the start. Turned for home 5th by 10.5 lengths, was second by a length at the finish to Buzz Assault, having Last Dance behind in that event. So well freshened up for this. Has been seen at the exercise, so should be sound. Radish Roman now has the ride for Marlon Pusey, and Conundrum definitely should be in here with a shot once coming out of those gates cleanly. The 10, the very fit Last Dance to J. Suku, claiming 4 kilos for Michael Marlowe, was third by 5 3/4 lengths on Last Design Princess in what was, to me, possibly a very disappointing run. Before that was second by 3 lengths to Musquetoon in a very unlucky race where he was checked when he was in the stretch and still was staying on strong after coming at the furlong pole 5th by 8.5 lengths and then only losing by 3. A fit Last Dance in this race with the cheek pieces now off definitely should fight this out. The 11 Tequila Flight, Everett Clunis claiming 4 kilos for Orlando Chin. Did not finish. The jockey fell on the last occasion, and before that finished lame back in February. Has a good window back in October when winning by 12 lengths over Jack Daniel and Sicario Man in a 4-year-old maiden condition race at 7 furlongs. Cantered on the 25th of March, and with the 4 kilo claim from a clean break, and if sound, this is my outsider to watch in the event. And the horse that I think is also a very dangerous horse in the race is the 13 Traditional Boy. Anthony Allen claiming 3 kilos for Cashbird Kewalsing. On last was 5th by 8.5 lengths to Era Fire Buzz Assault at this level at 5 furlongs round. Had to jump over a fallen horse in the final part of the event and still was finishing really, really strong there. So once coming back here sound, he definitely is fit. I think Traditional Boy is going to put in a very good run at a good price. The 6th race, native bred 3-year-old maidens, 13 starters. They go 7 furlongs. This is named for Garth Pennant, the champion groom. Boiling this race down to 5. They are the 3, Modern Monarch, the 4, Riley J, the 5, Benison, the 6, Runaway Star, and the 12, Prolific Prince. First up is number 3, Modern Monarch, Uville Pinnock for Patrick Lynch. 5 starts, nothing really fancy so far, but last time out showed some improvement. Was a bit early for my liking in that race and still managed to finish 5th by 7 lengths. This horse is growing rapidly, has a nice big stride on him, so definitely going to want a distance of ground and getting 7 furlongs now and expected speed in front. If Pinnock holds him up and saves him for the stretch run, I'm expecting a good run from this Modern Monarch. The 4, Riley J, the Cardenas for David Powell. Winner back on January 18th, but was disqualified for causing interference. Came back at 5.5 furlongs and was outkicked in the stretch to finish 6 by 13 lengths. Probably something went wrong there. They have now taken off the visors and add on the figure 8. Still kept busy at exercise, working pretty well. Can't rule out Riley J. The 5, Benison, DJ Suko, claiming 4 kilos for Ryan Williams. 4th by 5 lengths on debut to Brahma Bull at 6 furlongs. Coming off the pace, has worked well coming into this race, and a good run expected now, stretched out an extra furlong. The 6, the highly thought of Runaway Star, Radish Roman for Jason DaCosta, was disqualified by the starters on debut, but came back, was 1-2 favorite in a 6.5 furlong event, got to the lead quite easily, but then came under pressure from Sensational Soul, faltered in the stretch to finish 4th by 9.5 lengths. Has worked well since that race, and with that experience behind him, expecting a much improved run from this highly thought of colt. And the 12, Prolific Prince, Shane Ellis for Adrian Prince, ran well on debut the 23rd of March, going 5.5 furlongs when chasing the highly thought of Summer Palace for the entirety of the race and still hung on for second by only 2.5 lengths. Stretched out to 7 furlongs, which I think might be a better trip for this prolific prince. Always working well at exercise. Shane Ellis once again in the saddle. They have now taken off the visor, so I think they're going to try to let this horse relax and not really go too fast too early. I think a good run is expected from this prolific prince. The 7th race. Native bred 5 years and up, non-owners of 2 and imported 5 years and up maiden. 8 starters, they go 4 furlongs straight. This is named for Ian Witter and Robert Locan. Boiling this race down to 3. They are the 1, Shadow of a Doubt, 4, Electrode, and the 6, He Stands Alone. Okay, Shadow of a Doubt. Demar Williams claiming 4 kilos for O'Neill Markland. Nothing in recent starts. 8 by 9.25 lengths on last to Jack Daniel. 5th by 8.75 lengths to Manouche, although being prominent early. Last win came back in October when winning 5 furlongs straight, beating a Beautiful Moon, who's present today. Coming in very light. The visors are off. The blinker is on. Even from the 1 draw, expecting a good run from this Shadow of a Doubt against these. The 4, the horse they're going to have to beat, Electrode, Tevin Foster for Lawrence Fremantle. 3rd and last by 3.5 lengths to Jack Daniel over 5 straight. Before that was 2nd by 3 lengths to Okio Warrior when coming off a very long rest. Obviously has his problems, this well-bred son of Sunshine and Shadow by Electrifying. So he's very well bred for a lot of speed, but obviously has problems. If he comes, he's hacking, so if he's sound, and if he comes here, 80%, definitely the horse are going to have to beat. And the 6, He Stands Alone. Another horse that's bred for a lot of speed. Garvin Harrison claiming 4 kilos for Michael Kane. Nothing on last, 10 by 18 lengths at 5.5 furlongs, but before that was only 5 lengths off of Okio Warrior and Electrode over the 4 furlongs straight. Back over the straight now, claiming 4 kilos. Expecting a good run from this He Stands Alone, who does possess some good early speed. And the outsider to note is the 8, Timekeeper Abigail Abel, claiming 3 kilos for Henry Harrison Jr. Nothing in recent stats, but did flash some early speed on the 5th of March when going 5 furlongs straight at this level in a race won by Air of Fire. So, and that was coming off a break. So for the exotic bets, can squeeze this Timekeeper in. The 8th race. Native bred 4 years and up, non-owners of 2 and imported 4 years and up maiden. 10 starters, 5 furlongs straight. This is named for Terence Bloomfield and Delroy Daly. One of the hardest races to handicap because it's for 4-year-olds and up and it's non-owners of 2, plus they're going over the straight 5. Boiling this race down to 4. They are the 2, Military Light, the 6, Radam, the 7, Sonogram, and the 9, Social Aviator. Okay, Military Light. Anthony Allen claiming 3 kilos for Gary Griffiths. Disappointing run and last. Was 10th by 15 lengths, but I think I'm figuring this horse out. Before that, he was 3rd by 2 lengths at 5.5 running on. So I thought a distance aground might have been what he wanted. Definitely not. This horse is a run-on sprinter. Should relish the 5 furlong straight, the galloping course. Claiming those 3 kilos, I think this Military Light will be finishing very strong in the final furlong. The 6, Radam, Tevin Foster for Anthony Nunes. Came off a rest on last, was 7 by 7.5 lengths to Irish Wish and Dream to Reality. Back over the trip where he released his maiden in impressive fashion, beating Lady Sarasuta and Military Light. Has worked well coming to this, working with Irish Wish. So I'm expecting another good run over the straight from this Radam. The 7, Sonogram, Robert Halladine for Robert Pearson. 2 starts. Debut on the 28th of April when finishing 2nd by a short head to the very useful Prince Aman. Came back in September, so had a long freshening there. Won by 4 3/4 lengths, beating Blood Moon. Coming back off of another long rest, so obviously this horse has issues, but is working fairly decent at the exercise. Does show some good speed, and probably is the horse they're going to have to try to catch. And the 9, Social Mischief, O'Neill Mullins for Robert Pearson. I think Robert Pearson might have a good day. Showed on last that this Social Mischief is heading in the right direction. Over 5 furlongs round. Was closing really strong in the stretch after coming wide off the turn to only be beaten ahead by Tornado Steel. Before that, over the 4 furlong straight, stayed on to be beaten 3.5 lengths fifth to Irish Wish, who has left this class. So working very well coming into this race, and I think Social Mischief is the horse I personally like in the event at a decent price. Outsider to note is going to be the 8 Chinita Estrella. TJ Suku claiming 4 kilos for Stephen Todd was in that same race with Social Mischief going 5 furlongs round when only beaten a length and a half sixth. My only problem with Chinita Estrella is never really shows up around over the 5 straight, but is capturing the pace of this non-winners of 2, and at the light impulse outsider to squeeze into the exotics is this Chinita Estrella. The 9th and final, native bred 4 years and up, non-winners of 3, and imported 4 years and up, non-winners of 2, big field of 14. They go 5 furlongs straight. This is the co-feature, the Grooms Association of Jamaica Trophy, boiling this race down to 4. They are the 4 Shooting Star, the 5 Hotbread Scammer, the 11 Irish Wish, and the 14 A Breath of Fresh Air. Okay, Shooting Star, Robert Halladine for Leroy Tomlinson. Third by 2 3/4 lengths and last to Immeasurable Joy at 7 furlongs. Last win back in January was at 7 furlongs when it was very easy winner over Lucy in the Sky and the General. Shouldn't have a problem over the 5 straight. The last time going over the 5 furlong straight was back in April when finishing 5th by 5.5 lengths to Commander Z and Magnificent Force. So that's saying a lot for this Shooting Star. I don't think the 5 straight is going to be a problem, and expecting a very competitive run from Shooting Star. The 5 Hotbread Scammer, Richie One Shakes claiming 4 kilos for Patrick Fung. So coming in fairly light, was third and last at 5.5 furlongs to Smart Trick and A Breath of Fresh Air. Last time over the straight was 6 by 8 1/4 lengths to Midnight Flight and A Breath of Fresh Air. His last win back in October was over the straight, beating Indestructible and Irish Wish. Coming from off the pace, has definitely caught the pace of this class now, and from a clean break, this Hotbread Scammer, big fire striding horse, could be the horse they all have to beat. The 11 Irish Wish, Tevin Foster for Anthony Nunes, impressive winner on last when coming off of a rest over the 4 furlong straight, beat Dream to Reality and Tornado Steel very convincingly. Steps up in class now, but steps up here very, very fit. Very speedy horse, this electrifying, this half brother to Patriarch. I think he has a brother running today too. Yes, Electrode is the brother of Irish Wish, so 2 brothers possibly have a chance to win on the program. Irish Wish working very well coming into this race. Loves the 5 furlong straight. Hotbread Scammer, he was third by a length to Hotbread Scammer back in October. So I'm expecting this Irish Wish, although stepping up in class, to put in a very good performance. And the 14, A Breath of Fresh Air, Trevor Simpson for Philip Lee. 2 starts at this level and 2 seconds, so has caught the pace of this class very quickly. Was second by 3 3/4 lengths to Midnight Flight, having undisclosed location behind over the straight back in February. Came back in March the 8th and was second by a length and a quarter to Smart Trick, having Hotbread Scammer behind in that race. So definitely loves the straight, has the pace of this class, drawn perfectly on the extreme outside, and A Breath of Fresh Air, I think, should fight this out. 2 outsiders to note, if you're going to buy your exotic bets and you want to squeeze in some long shots, is going to be the 2 Blood Moon, Demar Williams claiming 4 kilos for Gary Sobrati. 2 starts at this level. First time at this level at 7 furlongs was 12 by 18 lengths to Immeasurable Joy and Titan Tempo. Came back in March over 5.5 furlongs was 6 by 4 lengths to Smart Trick and A Breath of Fresh Air, so that's an improved run. His last race over the straight was third by a length and a quarter to First Grandson. Busy at the exercise track, claiming some weight here, so coming in pretty light. And if a big upset comes into the exotics, I think it could be from Blood Moon. And the 13, Indestructible. Okay, Indestructible has run 3 times at this level. First time at this level at 5.5 was 9 by 7.5 lengths to Magnificent Force and Midnight Flight. He came back over the straight, was 8 by 10 lengths to Midnight Flight and A Breath of Fresh Air. In that race, TJ Suko lost his irons from the gates opened and he was left way behind the field. And if you know Indestructible, you know something have to be wrong there, because Indestructible only knows how to one way, and that's from in front. He came back the week after that, stretched out at 7 furlongs, a distance that is definitely too far for his best. So wasn't looking at dollar there, came in at 80 to 1. The visors are now back on. Samantha Fletcher in the saddle over his pet trip and expecting a good run from this Indestructible. This time breaking well and being on the lead or right with the leaders for most of the way. All right, guys, that's it for this episode of Down the Stretch. Wish you guys some luck and, as usual, be safe.